So if you're referring to the encounter where my client testified to the House that she witnessed Representative Gaetz having sex with her friend, a minor, she was invited to a party in July of 2017. She testified to the House that as she was walking out to the pool area, she turned to her right and she witnessed her her friend having sex with Representative Gaetz, and her friend at that time was 17.
And so, and just to be clear, she knew this girl that then Representative Congressman Matt Gaetz was having sex with on the table was underage because it was her friend.
That's right. They'd been friends for several years from high school.
From high school. And that she was a high schooler at the time? I mean,
her friend was still in high school, correct?
In a dramatic turn of events that has sent shockwaves through Washington's political establishment, Matt Gaetz's nomination for Attorney General has come to an abrupt end. The announcement came as mounting pressure and serious allegations threatened to derail not just his confirmation, but potentially his entire political career.
Andrea, this was in a social media post just moments ago. I'm just going to read it directly to you from Matt Gaetz, who, of course, was up on Capitol Hill yesterday meeting with senators toured around by J.D. Vance. This is from Matt Gaetz. Quote, "I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. I remain fully committed to see that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history."
The withdrawal comes just 8 days after Trump made the surprising decision to nominate Gaetz, a move that immediately sparked controversy and concern across both parties. The allegations surrounding Gaetz's conduct have become increasingly serious and detailed.
The testimony before the House was yes, that Representative Gaetz paid my client, both of my clients, for sexual favors throughout the summer of 2017 all the way to the beginning of 2019.
And how did he pay them?
Those were primarily through Venmo and PayPal payments. There was one payment through Representative Gaetz' adopted son through his PayPal. So there were numerous events such as those. They're not all happening at the pool table, but there was events at Airbnbs, there were events at individuals' houses, there were events that took place at political events. There was a trip to New York, there was a trip to the Bahamas. So events like this did happen from time to time, perhaps over 10 times over the course of July 2017 to early January 2019.
The political implications of these allegations extend far beyond just the Attorney General nomination, with serious concerns about Gaetz's fitness for any public office.
Of course, Matt Gaetz turned heads when Donald Trump first picked him. They were on their way from Washington, D.C., aboard Trump's plane back here to Mar-a-Lago 8 days ago when the decision was made by Donald Trump in flight to nominate Gaetz in a surprising fashion to lead the Department of Justice. Of course, these were all allegations that the Department of Justice had looked into. People like Speaker Kevin McCarthy had publicly stated just this year that he thought that Matt Gaetz would eventually be in jail because of the underlying evidence that was in the hands of House ethics members. But now you fast forward here, I think that this is really the first time in which you see Donald Trump, who made the case that he learned a lot from his first administration and wanted to surround himself by loyal cabinet members, it came to a roadblock up on Capitol Hill.
The resistance to Gaetz's nomination wasn't limited to Democrats. Many Republicans expressed serious reservations about his potential leadership of the Department of Justice.
It was going to take just 4 Republican senators to block his confirmation, and there was hesitancy among many of them about not only the underlying allegations against him, but also the way in which he would potentially use and wield the powers of the Department of Justice. He had promised to root out what he called the deep state, and there was concern about political prosecutions, that he would go and not only remove individuals from within Department of Justice career prosecutors, but also tried to go and investigate and convene grand juries to bring indictments against perceived enemies of Donald Trump.
The situation has become even more complex with questions about Gaetz's political future in Florida and potential alternative positions.
Gaetz's district in the Panhandle is very Republican. It was always going to be a Republican that replaces him. The question now is, will Gaetz run in his own special election to try and get reelected back to Congress. And the question about, there was clearly, Kayleigh, pressure building, sources at Capitol Hill telling me and every other reporter in Washington that this ethics report was likely coming out. And now, maybe that's up in the air now that he steps away, or maybe it accelerates it. That's yet to be seen.
It is yet to be seen. You know, Harris, so he resigned from the 118th Congress. And when he gave his speech on the House floor announcing that resignation, he said, I do not intend to take the oath of office for the same office in the 119th Congress. So you have to ask, does he now take that back and try to be a congressman, or does he go away?
He said, but you caught what he said, the same office.
Yeah.
DeSantis has to appoint, if Michael Waltz, congressman, moves on in his nominated post, if Marco Rubio, senator, moves on in his nominated post, he's got some positions to work with there in that state. Could it be Matthew Gaetz, who then becomes a U.S. senator for an interim in the state of Florida?
That's an interesting thought. I mean, Cassie, there's also the notion that Trump could appoint him to a big and powerful position that does not require Senate approval.
The investigation into Gaetz's conduct has been extensive, with multiple witnesses providing detailed accounts to investigators.
But we know that senators, including some Republicans, were interested in having the details of the underlying allegations and evidence that was in the hands of the House Ethics Committee.
The pressure from Senate colleagues proved to be particularly intense, with some making their concerns public.
Senator John Cornyn came out and said, look, this is going to come out one way or another, he said. He was quite vociferous, unlike, for example, another senator who anonymously commented on the record that it would be very contentious, and essentially requesting that Gaetz step aside to save him the, quote, embarrassment of that public trial that Senator Cornyn said would be messier than Kavanaugh. It would be even more brutal.
The Department of Justice's earlier decision not to pursue charges has drawn renewed scrutiny.
Career prosecutors have recommended against charging Matt Gaetz in a long-running sex trafficking investigation, telling Justice Department superiors that a conviction is unlikely, in part because of credibility questions with the two central witnesses.
The full impact of this withdrawal and its implications for both Gaetz's future and Trump's transition plans remain to be seen. With the House Ethics Committee report still pending and multiple investigations ongoing, this story continues to evolve. The episode serves as a stark reminder of the importance of thorough vetting in high-level appointments and the potential consequences of rushing such critical decisions. As Washington processes this latest political upheaval, the focus now shifts to who will next be nominated to lead the Department of Justice, and what additional revelations might still come to light.
We know the deputy is Todd Blanche. That was Trump's attorney in his case with Alvin Bragg here in New York. Many suspected that if Gaetz did not make it through, that perhaps Blanche would be elevated.
Well, we'll see where it goes. And I think really the question over what Matt Gaetz does next is really fascinating, because he resigned from the current Congress. He was elected to the next one, but his resignation officially set in motion Governor DeSantis standing up a special election quickly